Welcome to Second Sunday. This is my monthly energy broadcast. I am your host today, Jessica Alstrom, and I have been doing a Second Sunday broadcast, I don't know, for feels like 6 or 7 years now. And every month I kind of tap into the pulse of what's going on energetically and kind of give you guys a feedback. My perspective is a little bit different than a lot of other teachers and practitioners out there that are sharing, as I am very integrated in the human experience. And I know that the purpose of our life is joy. And we really came here not to learn spirituality, but to embody that and learn how to walk around on this planet as a spirit versus escaping the body and jumping into the spirit world where it feels all warm and gooey, right? So I've been a little bit of a rebel and never really kind of fit in with the spiritual community. I don't quite fit in with the scientific community as well because I have a tendency to bring a lot of spirit into science. Science is one room of a house. So we have to include everything as we are really quantum beings. And I am a quantum life coach, which technically means that I don't follow any rules or patterns. And what that means for the work is that we are designing our reality from particles of our own conclusion. We are here to create our own reality. It feels easier said than done. A lot of you have bought into that idea. Some of you want to believe that. Some of you are just reading that. Some of you are feeling that, but not living that. And I am a coach that very disciplined with my teachings to bring you into alignment of yourself. It's really the science of you. You're not really on a spiritual journey. You are spirit. You're unlearning. You're really here to unlearn the indoctrination that you can't have what you want. You're here to unlearn that you don't know everything already. You're here to unlearn that you need anything outside of you. You're here to unlearn that you're not good enough, right? You are good enough. So this month, I hope we have time. This month is very juicy. If you guys have been following my work, it started really abruptly in 2018, where I started producing workshops that were in alignment with where we were as far as our ascension process. Some of you are like, ascension? Well, what it means is that Earth is in a process, whether we like it or not, of a very fast evolutionary phase. She is expanding and she is able to hold more space and more light, which that means that we are becoming more conscious. Like someone keeps turning the light on brighter and brighter and brighter. Now, that can be annoying. I get it. It's moving very fast. And ever since December 21st, we have been more activated in the physical body than ever before. In 2012, we were very much activated in our etheric bodies, our emotional bodies, and now the heat is coming on right inside the cooker, right in your vehicle. And we're going through a very, very rapid expansion of consciousness, expansion of growth, basically. Now, this particular month is a make or break point, I would say, for the entire planet. And the reason I say that is because you probably noticed, right? Unless you live under a rock, which you might want to at this point, but you probably noticed that the whole world is somehow waking up. Now, maybe not waking up the way you are, maybe waking up the way that they are. You know, a lot of times people will wake up in different phases. Like they will wake up in different aspects of the bridge. Like if one point of the bridge is like, whoa, here I am, the end of the bridge is I am, spark of God. It's like there's a bridge that we are going to awaken through each step of our own progress. That's why sometimes it feels like 10 steps forward, 10 steps back. Sometimes it feels like you know everything, and then the other minute you know nothing, right? You have ultimate faith and then fear. So it is a journey for sure of the science of you. And you is broken down into that idea of universe, the particles that make up your expression, your imagination of yourself. You are in a virtual reality simulation to remember all of your power, right? And this game is extremely realistic as far as the intoxication of our physical emotions that are connected to everything that is happening here within our viewpoint, right? So it can become a very confusing place when you're reading and studying one thing and then living the other, right? You're living that, that we are all one and that we're here to unify and love each other, and you're not witnessing that. So this month is very important. And as you're witnessing the world waking up in their own way, some people are waking up into pain. Some people are waking up into problems. Some people are waking up into new beliefs and ideas that support their internal belief systems. And your job is to allow them, right? Whether they're intimate relationships or they are associates or business partners, allow them to take that road that they need to go, because we're all going to get where we need to be. It's all divine. Everything is preset. Every particular person is here to work out a different phase of their own conclusion. Some call it karmic resolve. We're here to kind of resolve ourselves. Some are here to expand because they've already done that, right? Some, it's just like in a school program, you got your kindergartner and you got your college education. It doesn't mean that there is better or more evolved. It just means been doing it longer, right? I've been at it longer. Been working with it longer. Doesn't mean better, doesn't mean worse. So if you're witnessing people around you kind of falling off the wagon, you know, even if it was the person who woke you up, suddenly is now in a tailspin in their own belief systems that doesn't vibrate with your ideas and your belief systems, allow it. You're going to save yourself a lot of pain, because this is the moment. This 8-8, as if in eternity, infinity was looking in a mirror at itself. This is the face-off between duality. So you are going to witness both the destruction and the resurrection of this planet happening almost simultaneously, which means that every negative is designed to be a shortcut and a fast forward, because usually pain wakes humans up, right? And being satisfied is a conclusion of an experience, which means usually when you find yourself the most satisfied with your job or with your body or with your spouse or with your, creation, that is when you say, let me go get into some new trouble. And you dive down into some manure and you get stuck for a while. And then through that self-realization, you begin to grow out of it. You've noticed you've probably done this between 3 and 5 times already, where everything was going good. And then, right? And this is part of your journey. It is part of our ascension. It is part of our evolutionary phase to raise our consciousness into remembering our full capabilities and learning how to use this technology we call the biocomputer that is constantly studying you. Your body is constantly studying the observer, the one who is watching the thoughts, the one that's seeing themselves act out behavior. That is the real you, the universal perspective of the I am. Right? Now, I teach very, very 4th grade basic quantum physics, me, myself, and I, right? Me is that part of us that had to learn how to survive in a loveless world. And the inner child who is just here for adventure and nonsense, right? And just wants to love everybody. And then the I am that is complete, right? So need, want, is the formula that we can find ourselves operating with vibrationally. Now, Law of Attraction's listening to all 3 of those frequencies. If you have been studying my work, you're like, blah, blah, Jess, we know this. But if you're just stumbling upon me, this is going to be important, because some of you realize that you are using the techniques of Law of Attraction, but you're still getting bittersweet, or you're still getting just enough. And that is because there's 3 vibrations that the universe has to listen to and mold them together like potpourri and give you a conclusion. So some good, some bad, some ugly, some still in desire, and some bitter, right? So we're realizing that we are not just creating from one focal point. We are creating from 3 focal points. And a lot of the times we are not on the same page with ourselves. Now, let me ask you, is that happening anywhere in your life right now? Are you not on the same page with someone else? Well, it's a reflective universe. So that will usually show you back through a projection of their behavior, how you are vibrating through your own reflection. So when you get integrated into this physical body, and we not destroy, but lovingly give ego a new job as manager in chief, operator of human focal points and manifestation, instead of saboteur, right? Warden, critic, meanie pants, right? We got to take that job away from that ego and promote. You'd say, you don't want to promote a sociopath. Oh, yes, you do. Because your ego is here to help you focus. Now, unfortunately, because we're all over the place. We're usually focused on the past, projected into the future. This happened. I cannot have this happen, or this didn't happen, and I really want it to happen. And we lose the focal point of the now. The now is where the I am is, because it just is. Like I am sitting here. It just is, right? I'm not in the past. I'm not in the future. And when I am not here, I am not really all of me. Now, you probably talk to your spouse. Do you even hear me? And they're like, phew. Well, maybe it's because you are not all there. And August, whew, I'm telling you, some juicy stuff here. We are sandwiched between this new moon, this full moon, and with this energy they call the Lion's Gate. Now, this energy of the Lion's Gate is in layman's terms, to keep it both scientific and spiritual, is really a gateway of new level of expansion. So as if the ribbon just got cut and you're free to walk around a new dimensional aspect of the frequency of Earth, which means Earth just got an upgrade. Just like when you get an upgrade on your phone, you wake up in the morning and everything is whoosh, and it asks you, do you want to take this? Well, you're moving away from the ability to choose whether you take your upgrades. For a very long time on this planet, you could choose. I just learned how to use this thing. I don't want to take the upgrade. Everything's going to be wonky. Well, you had some choices there. And now, because you're here, there is a choice that says I am here, which means I choose to go with the flow, right? And therefore let go or be dragged. You are noticing that you may feel all over the place. You may feel high, you may feel low, you may feel exhausted, you may feel energetic, you may feel creative, you may feel zero inspiration. You may feel like Jesus one day and literally, crazy man the next day. And this is all normal, all right? Because we're in this push, this gateway, we would call this, if I was going to say, this is kind of like the 9th month of a gestational point where a mother is about to have a baby. And that's the most adrenalized experience that a woman can have, which takes us to going back to what we are witnessing right now. We are witnessing this, what we call the Great Divide, right? Imagine, it's like all of a sudden the Red Sea's part and you're walking down this middle lane, and over here is fear and hate and separation and huge levels of indoctrination where you're seeing sheep mindset, and not only are they sheeple mindset that you're probably witnessing, they are like Darth Vader's white army, right? They're like going to get you if you're not doing what they're doing, right? It's not just like, hey, I'm over here doing my fear-based thing. Oh, no. They're angry that you're not in fear with them. So it's heightened. We're noticing that the shift that has been created is not just fear versus love. It is rage, fear, and wounded empathic love, right? You probably resonate with one of those. If you find yourself in the middle, having kind of that bipolar experience, totally normal. That's most of us. And what we are doing is we are integrating both of our aspects of ourselves, the unconscious version of ourselves, the super conscious version of ourselves, in a body that just got a huge upgrade, which means that now you need to learn how to work your new software. Your software is higher levels of access to your dimensional focus, which means your light is brighter and you can see more, right? Now, Spider-Man says, great power comes great responsibility. Well, you're not here to be in power over anyone else. You're not here to heal anyone else. You're here to heal thyself. Your experience of a healed being, a playful being, a being that is at peace with both mind, body, and soul in harmony is the exact frequency that helps everyone else wake up. Your challenge against your communication and your philosophy means absolutely nothing anymore. Nothing. And the reason why is because it's no more talk, action. Now, as we begin to really integrate into the body, what's happening is that when we get access, right, to higher levels of consciousness, our bodies begin to lighten up. Now, as they lighten up, they have access to a stronger electromagnetic connection, which means everything in your body is going to increase in speed. Okay, you're like, I'm going to get older. Possibly, but let me show you the other side of that experience, right? When everything starts to accelerate in your physical body, right? It's almost like that age between, I would say, like 4 and 7, where like leg pains, like back pains, weird headaches, misemotion, drama, crying, screaming, right? Your body is going to go through all of these things totally normal, okay? Because it's having an extreme growth period. But this time, it's not a growth in the physical body, it's growing in the light body. The light body is the higher self that is moving its way into the physical form so it can learn how to operate from a level of expanded consciousness. So the body has to upgrade, right? And get to a certain frequency that can house a bigger spirit, which means that there's got to be space in there. Okay. And I have kind of given up my spiritual study of God in the universe a few years ago, just because it was so obvious how it all worked up there, and really went down and had deep conversations with the human ego. And I have been studying the human ego for over 5 years now, and I probably have learned more about the human condition than I ever have channeling angels or spirits, because from an angelic space that is not embodied, there is just the frequencies. It's just love, right? Well, how do you love when you're being hurt? How do you stand up for yourself? When you're in a spirit space, getting that information downloaded, it's very love and above. It's all high vibrations, raise your frequency. This is their orders. And yes, 100%, those are the coordinates. But when you're down here raising kids in a body that's like bulky around and heavy, and people are heavy, and nobody knows how to play anymore, and everything is boring or hard, everything is expensive. It's like, what does spirit actually know about these things? Well, I'm going to tell you who does. Ego. Obviously, I'm not channeling ego, I'm not dark energy, but as a scientist, you have to understand that everything is systematic. Just like if you go to a doctor and they just look at your wrist for carpal tunnel, they're missing the rest of the system. A lot of time, carpal tunnel comes from the C1, C2, C3 being messed up in your spine. So they're missing information. And if we're going to go quantum here and throw out all the rules, we've got to look at you as a whole operating system. You are not just your mind. You are not just your body. You are not just your spirit. But we're talking to really mainly today, my voice is being projected to the wounded empath community. Now, what's an empath? The ability to feel what everybody else feels. When we do that, it makes our superpower really scary, right? Especially when you are trying to have peace and your family and love people. We have been taught that love is about being selfless, rescuing, being a doormat, turning your volume down, hiding your gifts, right? Being the weirdo, right? Being unacknowledged, not being seen, not being heard. And we're literally taught that this is love. So you can see how we're all these wounded empaths walking around, highly sensitive beings with ADD, OCD, mommy daddy issues, and we are out there pounding the pavement, healing as many people as we can get our hands on. This is why it's a little bit off balance right now, because as this grand separation happens, and the ones who say fear is security for me, that when I am fear, that keeps me alert and aware. And the other side of the planet is going, fear is just anticipation of loss. Definition. I've already lost everything I could possibly lose. My dignity, I've been humiliated, right? I've lost all my money, I've had diseases. Like, what else is there possibly to lose? Because usually by the time that you move to love, you've already been through hell, maybe 5-6 times. So you are through that porthole of anticipating fear, and you've arrived on the other side where you can be vulnerable in your fearlessness, because you've already been destroyed a billion different ways already. Well, the ones that are holding on for dear life, they don't want to be hurt. They don't want to let go. They don't want to get lost. They don't want to lose anything, are going to fight for their right to use fear as protection. And you're going to see this so heavily over the next 24 months that you might have to check yourself and be like, whew, that was scary what I just witnessed, or that really hurt my feelings. Because you're going to see the fear turn into anger on this planet big time. Because as the light increases, so does the dark. And you're asking yourself, well, how does the dark increase if the light increases, right? Because dark is just absence of light. Well, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you. This is why August is so important. 2018, I gave you warrior training. Warrior training was when your job was to find your own narcissist within you, right? You got a left and right hemisphere of your brain. One's working for you, one's working against you, one's empathic, one is not empathic within you. And then after that, I gave you guys I am training, which showed you how to work directly with your I ams and the universe. This is the universe's job. The how, this is my job. After that, I gave you guys Vision Quest. Vision Quest was where you find all of your walls and you turn them into paths. Then I gave you Master of Love, which is where we realize that in our bodies, biologically, love equals pain. Well, there you go. No wonder I'm attracted to jerks, right? So as we have gone through all of these levels of awareness, as we've been moving into higher levels of consciousness, I have been puking out these little workshops to help give you tools. And all of these tools are for ego's expansion and higher consciousness. You don't need help with your spirit. It's going. It's going. It's jumping off the cliff nude, like, woohoo, right? Your ego is the one that's like, what about this? And what if we get hurt? And what if this happens? And I'm not good enough, right? That's the one that needs to be loved into a higher level of order, right? This separation of yourself is what is causing all of your pain in your life. You have always been worthy. You have always been deserving. You've always been allowed. Always. We didn't learn that as a kid. So our brain adapted a alter ego within itself to figure out how to survive here. While the other side of our brain or other side of our mind or other side of our consciousness said, well, they're saying no, but I'm going to figure out how to want to do it anyways, right? There is the definition of an outlaw, right? Do the right thing, even if it's against the rules. So you're seeing this grand separation and this Lionsgate energy. And Leo is really, if I were going to say, what is Leo energy? It's really about having a very abundant second childhood. It's when you can go, hey, I'm an adult with money. I can really play now. And experiencing that, because the me, myself, and I makes a perfect triangle. And this is one of the strongest forces in the universe because it is a great conduit for electromagnetic and spiritual energy. It is a great balancing point because it works in a flow in harmony where each point gets to accelerate the other. Now, with this triangle that is in your body, it is organization and flow of your own Kundalini energy that is usually either stopped, blocked, or blown out of control, depending on what kind of spiritual work you're doing. And that is a flow of your ability to know thyself, see thyself. It's all your clairvoyances. It's your voyances, right? It's your clairs. Now, when this is accelerated, you are going to know a lot more than anyone else. You're going to feel a lot more than anyone else. Now, one thing they do not teach in the spiritual books, I've yet to read it, is that as your light increases with all of your spiritual work, your activations you're doing, your classes, your modalities you're learning, your books you're reading, your workshops you're taking, is that if you are not working simultaneously to elevate your ego unconsciousness into a higher level, you are further separating from yourself. This is where it gets very scary, because all of these activations that you guys are doing and classes and workshops are expanding your ability to know, right? Now, that is knowledge, but nothing is ever wisdom unless the body can do it automatically. Now, can your body manifest $1 million automatically for you? Can your body manifest a healthy partner for you automatically? Can your body, right, make choices like that instantly without going past, present, future, doubt, calling 8 people, calling 6 psychics instantly? And if your answer is not yet, great, because that just means we have a little bit more work to do and that we're here to get the body, which is attached to the ego identity, which is its protector, right? The body is the house of the inner child. It's the bridge between the spirit world and the non-physical world. The inner child is the one that resides in non-judgment. There's not an ounce of racism there. There's not a judgment in its eye. It just wants to play. And what your little child is doing, the idea is trying to hold on to ego's hand and mom's hand or higher self's hand and go, can we just play nice? Can we just go to the park? Can we just love everybody? So the inner child is really where the bridge is going to come into harmony. And it goes against everything that we've learned as far as being responsible adults, to play, to be. It's the state of being that creates your reality, not your efforts. Your efforts in a limited mindset will break down your physical body and leave you broke, sick, and alone. It sucks. It sounds like a catch-22 because you're working so hard. You're studying the law of attraction, but you have to understand that there is a part of you that remains unevolved in the shadow. So as you're taking that class to elevate your consciousness and pop open your pineal gland, which is going to release a ton of superhuman hormones, then your dark side or your ego side is down in the basement lifting weights, getting just as strong as your super consciousness. So we're like, oh gosh, yeah, dark is rising on the planet. You better look in the mirror, because your darkness or your lack of awareness, we could call it, because darkness is kind of a poo-poo word, this is also growing within you if you are not growing towards yourself. If you are doing the whole spiritual chase because it feels better, the love and light, and you're disregarding the shadow space that's saying, hey, we don't think we're good enough, right? The other side goes, well, let's just take another class. Hey, I don't really think I could do that, right? I'm afraid I'm going to get humiliated. Okay, well, let's go hire someone else to tell us that we're good enough, right? This is the separation that you're witnessing internally, externally. And it's scary to see outside, but it doesn't scare you when you think about this relationship with yourself. And honestly, maybe it should, because when we look at the separation that we're creating within ourselves, living a double life where I'm happy when I'm doing my spiritual training or when I'm with these people or when I'm feeling this with my twin flame, but I'm not happy over here, that isn't a real conclusion of how you're operating and vibrating holistically. All of you. You all need to be on the same page. Now, lower consciousness, super consciousness are two different vibrations that can't sync up. They cannot hold hands yet. You have a buffer point. It is your lighten up. It is your play. It is your dance. It is your music. It is your song. It is your art. It is your ideas. It is your dreams. It is your visions. It's your security blankets. That's going to be the thing that moves the lower self and the higher self closer together. Now, you might be using outside perspectives for this integration, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to work. If you're using someone as a security blanket, if you're using something outside of you as a security blanket, it won't work. Because it's like if a mom and a dad and a child were all in chaos, right? There isn't anyone outside of that family that can change that relationship for them. Now, they can all learn from outside reflections, therapists, teachers, guidance counselors, books, but they're going to be the ones who have to act out what they are learning. And this is where you're being asked right now, the face-off of divine infinity right here. The 8-way gateway is divine infinity of either going into the merge of self or separating further, right? And having your ego mind rise. Now, how is it possible, like I said, for darkness to rise? Well, some of you guys have seen me promoting my quantum fitness and you're like, what is she doing fitness right now? We're in the middle of ascension. I will tell you that as we're getting these upgrades, whether you like it or not, your hormonal system and your biological computer is becoming superhuman, which means that adrenaline, which is designed to give your body 600% more strength and than a normal operating system for a moment, right? So you can get away from danger, you can outrun a lion, is actually being used to think. You're using your adrenaline that was designed to make you, right, to think. So your adrenaline goes into mind, and your body becomes very weak because you're sitting there taking your beating. You're getting pulled over, and your nervous system is bouncing around. You're anxious. You're in a group. You're trying to fold into yourself. Now, what you guys are going to learn in quantum fitness is that when we do this to our bodies, when we jump into thought with all of our adrenaline, we become super thinkers. Ability to think past, present, future all in 1 second. Scenario think ourselves down into the abyss and despair instantly, right? And we're really left with a lot of ideas, motivation. We live in a constant state of procrastination. We're in constant fear of our environment and judgment because we are hyper thinkers. And hyper thinkers do not know how to act in physicality. They know how to think. So because we've been taught to sit still, don't speak, don't talk, don't do this, don't go there, we are pulling our energy in, and the adrenaline's got to go somewhere. So it races your heart, right? It brings all of your energy to your appendages. Your digestion stops, right? Your brain gets a boost, right, of all kinds of hormones that you're going to learn about. And then instead of fight, flight, which we can't do, we're empaths. We're not going to fight anybody. And yeah, we are pretty good running away, but we always run back into the same situation, right? Because we're law of attraction. So what we usually do is we freeze. And as the body begins to freeze, the adrenaline goes right into the mind. And now you have adrenalized thought. Adrenalized thought makes everything else more intense. Think about it. Last time you had to clean your house, you're like, oh, adrenalized thought. Cleaning your room, no big deal once you get started. We have become super thinkers. Now, because we're empaths and we don't want to hurt a fly, we push all of the energy of the whole world inside of us. Wait, right? Now, we're either waiting for my life to give me what I want, or we're physically waiting, right? And that is what we're going to be focusing on in quantum fitness, is the tool, how to bring that adrenaline down into the body so that you may activate this little thing, third eye, frontal cortex, where super consciousness can give you a solution to everything you're thinking. Because when you think adrenalized thought, you go into despair, you go into loss, you go into grief, you go into anger, you go into projection, you go into reaction, and you think that's you. But all that's happening is you're having a very explosive bout of adrenaline that is moving into your body. It is depleting your body's ability to create natural serotonin, which is your feel-good, happy inner child hormone, and therefore unable to really get quiet and dark enough to get into the melatonin storages of the pineal gland to get you back into your superconscious space where your body can go, finally, she's not thinking. Now I can heal this thing. Right? So we're going to be biohacking our human hormones that are now upgraded. This is why you're noticing such a big shift right now, is because everyone is expanding in their conscious level of their beliefs. So I'm expanding my consciousness on what I believe, and so are you. So if you believe something different than me, you're going to have a more heightened belief of that. That doesn't mean that you are becoming awake. It means you're becoming aware of your own beliefs and therefore really standing behind them. That is kind of scary when it can be coming from a place of lack. When it's coming from a place of not knowing what other possibilities and potentials exist for them. That without knowing their own power, it can be terrifying. Now, for us, wounded empaths walking around, we are kind of being part of the problem as well. Because we may be out there on the front line, hurting ourselves to save other people. But at the end of the day, what are you afraid of? What are you worried about? Is your life just a big flow river of abundance and freedom yet? Because if it's not, you probably want to check yourself and see where your adrenalized fear is hiding. Because one thing about empaths that I know, being one, we've been in a state of anxiety and acceleration of our own adrenaline since we're babies, because we've been hypersensitive, right? All of us, hypersensitive, which means by the time we get in our 30s, 40s, 50s, that level of sensitivity is so jaded within us that we don't even know we're being adrenalized. We're like, I'm cool. It's cool. It's chill. I got autoimmune disease now, but I'm good. I got 100 different allergies, but I'm carrying 50 extra pounds, but cool, right? No, we have just gotten so used to this experience of being over adrenalized. Our adrenal glands are shot, our poor thyroid, our gut is like, and so we are going to do the right thing with these upgrades that are coming in, because every single person on the planet is getting them, whether they like it or not. It's like, if you all go to the beach, you're all going to be in the sun. Even if you have an umbrella, you're going to have to stay under that umbrella. So we're all in this together. We're all having different experiences at different stages of our school of consciousness. And we should be allowed, which means this has never been a better time for your eyes on your own paper, because looking out there can be quite scary. Where I want you to do is look within and see where you are not part of your own solution, where you are part of the problem, where your mind is running against all of this hard work that you're putting into this time, effort, and money that you're spending to expand your level of knowing yourself. I have been on a diet and dealing with body issues my entire life because of what I just explained. I would rather take on everybody's problems than have anybody feel a wobble of uncomfort around me. Well, it created a nervous system that was completely shot because I was over adrenalized 24/7, right? Think about it. You may be this morning thinking about something that happened in the past, worried about it. Worry activates adrenaline because adrenaline is designed to protect you. So the very thing that was designed to protect you and get you away from danger is causing you to look deeper into the problem, where you cannot be a vibrational match to your own solution. So this is kind of a call to action for the wounded empaths of the world who are still not manifesting a true flow of abundance and love and freedom, because this is your birthright. Empaths, you can feel it, you can heal it, but it doesn't mean them. It means time to feel the places that we have been abandoning and rejecting within ourselves. I know it's easier to go heal that client over there. I know you can see what's going on with them. I know you can read everybody like a book. But what about that ego mindset, unconsciousness that's been lifting weights in your basement, getting super strong, using the adrenaline of thought, and there's not enough serotonin and melatonin to support your inner child or your higher self. So you may have these blissful moments, but then it turns into chaos, right? Or it turns like back into manure, and you're constantly having to dive down into it and grow out of it through courage and strength. You are resilient. Of course you are. You're infinite. You're unlimited potential. But if we're using our superpowers at this point, is what our hormones are. If we're using them to become super thinkers, then you've seen the superhero movies, right? There's always a nemesis and a superhuman. And the superhuman usually has some capability of strength in the physical body, right? So you look at Superman, he's physically strength. He might not know all the ins and outs of the world. He might not have total wisdom of the planet, but he is superhuman in his body and strength. And he is very childlike in his ability to love, if you've ever watched. Now you look at Lex Luthor. It's all mind. He has a superhuman mind. Tons of wisdom, tons of time, tons of hurt, tons of trial and error, tons of failure, right? And so you're looking at the idea in a perfect metaphor of what this human body is capable of as we go into higher levels of consciousness. Is it going to be Superman or Lex Luthor? Because you're noticing even that sweet little Karen that just wrote you up in your HOA 2 weeks ago is now like trying to burn your house down. It is because her mind is becoming adrenalized, and she isn't sweet and afraid anymore. She's angry and afraid. That's not fun. Now, here we are in the conclusion of us moving from the 5th dimension into the 6th dimension. 5 is the number of chaos and change. It is also the number where you really become your own right-hand man, right? You become who you truly are, yourself. 6th dimension is the number that we would represent with family and order, which means that this is when we move into the shift and change, where everything is going to get a lot better. But We have got to walk through our own fire. We've got to see that our own Darth Vader is down in our own basement lifting weights while we're studying super consciousness at the Center for Enlightenment. Okay. So if you're in my classroom, all we do is work with that ego, not to make it weak, but to reverse its reality, to shift its job. So if an ego is designed to protect its human, right, through whatever, and that means being critical and narcissistic and sociopathic, because that's sometimes how you love someone, right? Then what our job is to do is teach them a new way of being. And so this is actually what quantum fitness is. We're going to do it in 3 parts. The first one is, are you waiting or are you waiting? We're going to biohack your 3 major hormones, and you're going to learn how to use them differently. And what you'll notice is your energy will increase, your fear will drop, your level of manifestation will increase, that which you want. You will feel like you're living in a bubble, which means that although you're participating in the virtual reality, you're living your own very unique experience where things are maybe not abundant out there, but very abundant in here, not well out there, but very well in here, right? It's like that fishbowl where you get to swim in your own sea while everybody else is operating, having their own beliefs. This is what you're going to notice from 3 biohacks from 3 different hormones. This is scientific and spiritual blend together to integrate what you're separated from, which is actually attacking you behind your own back, which is making you afraid of the outside world. Okay. So in our second part of our quantum fitness, because it's going to be in 3 parts, that's going to be all about addiction, and it's going to be about age, right? Some of you guys have a major time wound where you're like, oh, I'm running out of time. I have not enough time, or you're pissing away your time, or you don't know what to do with your time, or, whatever. So we're going to cover that particular wound, and we're going to neutralize it again, biohacking hormonal systems of the human body through our spiritual connections, through our awareness as an observer. Okay. It's going to amplify your ability to be obsessed, because addiction is not a bad thing. If it expands your reality and everyone else's reality around you, it's only destructive if it is destroying your life and sabotaging your work that you're doing. So we're going to work heavily in addiction and time. The third one, obviously, we will have arrived. The third aspect of quantum fitness is becoming superhuman. Is it possible? 100%. Your DNA was actually designed to evolve with this Earth phase of ascension, which means your body has always had the hardware. Always. You're the one who is taking the upgrades or not taking the upgrades. And now you have to take the upgrades, kind of like you see 5G on your phone, whether you like it or not, right? You're going. So you're either going to you're going to turn into a super thinker, or you're going to become a super doer. And I would say that if you really looked at a very healthy child, they don't think very much. They take stock, they notice, they ask questions, and they do. This is where all of your bliss and all of your joy is. So whether you join me in quantum fitness or you just take a piece of this and go, okay, this makes sense, I'm going to work more on here. This is where your saving grace is going to be for your own ability to expand your reality, no matter what chaos is going on in this physical realm. It will not impact you if you are in harmony with these aspects of yourself, right? So we don't always know that we're overthinking, right? We think we're being responsible. Like, well, I'm thinking about everything. I'm thinking about what could happen. Well, you just said in your last class that you create your own reality. So is it that, or is it that? You got to get on your same page. You got to walk our talk. We got to work our talk. And you will see that even spiritual gurus, like I said, that handed you the book that woke you up, may be going in a different direction, and that might challenge or scare you. Okay. This is when I cannot recommend enough that you allow them with love to choose their own path. It's like when you're driving with someone, you're carpooling, and all of a sudden they take a wrong turn and you're like, dude, right? But then you go, oh, wait, we both got GPS on our phones. Well, we're going to make it there. You really want to be in that mindset right now and let everybody get lost if they need, because getting lost is how we get found. You know from your darkest nights of your soul that was when your biggest breakthroughs happened. Please allow your loved ones around you to have these experiences. And if you are so focused on whether they're going to make it or not, it means that you are not focused on whether you're going to make it, right? This is not going to get easier if you stay separated. We're moving into the idea of non-duality, which means we're using both of our darkness and our light for a very expansive, very enlightened, very spiritual experience inside a human body. Art, creativity, music, dance, learning sciences, it's all at your fingertips to really find a place to dive into and remember who you are, because you didn't come here to jump out of your body, live 8 feet outside of your body while your body's over there sick and broke and your head in a spiritual book. You didn't come for that. It's going to be very scary if that's the way we're going to continue to live. So whether you're just going to take my class so you can get in a bikini, hey, confidence raises awareness. Notice when you're confident, you don't settle for crap in your life. You don't take people's attitude. You're like, no. When you don't feel good about yourself, that's when you feel somehow that you deserve punishment. So even if you're just wanting to get in a bikini or finally lose the weight, then whatever carrot that your mind is using, you owe it to yourself to invest in yourself. And if you guys have noticed, I have made my prices so freaking cheap over the years because I don't need the money from this type of things. It comes like when you're playing, it just always comes. That everyone can do it. And it's not like, oh, I got to save up, thousands of dollars to do this one course. It's going to save me. I don't think that should be how it works. But I do think that we should also have an exchange of energy when we can all be on the same team, working with our first and foremost, our team. Because if you look at, before I wrap, because I could just talk all day, if you look at a professional sports team, and I don't really know sports, but I like the analogies. Each particular player does not practice all the time with each other. A lot of the time, they're practicing their skill set alone, right? Like the pitcher is going to pitch, 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 okay? Now, they're all going to play together when they join a game, right? Now, this is kind of where we need to be. We need to realize that we're just not ready for unity yet. The planet is not ready for conscious communities. If you've ever stepped foot in one, it's quite scary. Okay, because that ego that's been in the basement lifting weight will also surface in a conscious community, in your church, in your new age collective, in your family, right? And until we get really good at being ourselves, we really will not have truly healthy relationships outside of us. And you say, oh, well, I really wanted that twin flame. You can have whatever you want, but do you want that person separated from yourself? Because they won't love you the way you want to be loved. They won't see you. They won't hurt you. They'll push every button that you've got. They'll trigger you at every moment. And the reason why is because you are not all together with yourself. So anything that you're needing outside of you is showing you where you're still feeling separated. Okay. I know this was a lot of information, but this 8-8 energy is your activation, whether you like it or not. Now, the new moon, make your choices. Full moon, look at your choices. We can really have an opportunity to play here and run with this. And we're running into ourselves, right? So instead of working out, we're working in. We're seeing what part of our body is getting bigger and louder that is not on team enlightenment. And we are nurturing that aspect of ourselves. With all we're going to be doing is taking action differently, right? No mantras, nothing like that. We're going to be using the physical body to utilize adrenaline, serotonin, and melatonin differently to move you back into your original blueprint settings before everyone told you no. Before the world told you, don't think that, don't see that, that is where we're going to return your body to. But this time, you're a little grown up, you got a little bit more money, and you're going to have some superhuman hormones to play with. And I'm going to tell you, it's super fun. Okay, so I will see you in quantum fitness, or I will see you out there experiencing your reality, whichever it is. I would love to join you and assist you in this remembering. Otherwise, good luck. Keep your eyes on your own paper and allow everybody to make a different turn on the highway, because everyone has their own GPS and everyone will arrive right in their own time, in their own way. All right. See you guys all soon. Have a great Sunday.